Hi guys, it is me again. It's kind of been a little while since I did an update on YouTube, but we had surgery on Friday last week and things were looking really good. We went into the PCIU, I believe it is called, and that is like the cardiology after surgery kind of deal. You hang out there and they monitor you a lot closer. So Xavier was in there Friday after surgery, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I believe. And then he got moved to the NICU again, which was actually quite quick. So 3 days in the cardiology. He was doing so well. He was kicking butt. Like, they didn't have many issues with him at all, which was fantastic. He got back to the NICU. He was doing really, really well. They pulled out one of his chest tubes and everything was still going really well. He was draining really well. And then they pulled out another chest tube that he had in, and things kind of went wonky. So when they pulled out the second chest tube, they had started feeding him breast milk again, which was only 5 milliliters every hour, or 6 maybe milliliters every hour. So it wasn't a lot, but still enough to kind of get his stomach back used to it, because he hadn't eaten in over like 2 weeks, I think. So it's kind of a long time not to eat when you're used to eating like 70 milliliters to 85 milliliters. So they were feeding him, and then his stats and stuff started to get a little wonky. He was turning purple, so they listened, and it sounded like there was maybe a buildup of fluid in his lungs or his chest. So they did some x-rays and some echoes, and they checked to make sure that his heart wasn't failing, because the shunt could ultimately fail, which is possible, but it looked really good. His heart looked like it was working like it should be. So then they investigated his lungs a little bit further, and they found on the x-ray that in his chest, in this area here, there was a buildup of fluid. So they sucked out the fluid with a needle, and then they kind of let it sit. And they had an IV in here after his surgery. So they took that out as well, because it kind of looked sketchy. They took out his IV in his head, because it was also kind of looking a bit sketchy too. So once they start looking a little bit sketchy, like they might have, I guess, like blown a little bit, like they're not really going into the arteries or the veins anymore, then they take them out quickly, because they don't want to risk an infection. So anyway, the ones in his head were fine. This one, there's a little bit of a puddle here of fluid, so they're just gonna see if they can move him and kind of get it out. So they're watching that one. They put a main line in his groin, which they're going to be putting stuff through now. Because he's so little and he has a heart defect, you will have a hard time finding veins on him for the rest of his life, just because that's the way they are. Every cardiac child, adult, has issues with veins, arteries, those sort of things not being the best. So they kind of have to use an ultrasound machine to find them, which it is what it is. And so yeah, they've done that. They put the tube back in because his chest refilled with fluid again after they sucked it out. So now it's draining, and it's draining quite a bit. They have to empty the thing probably every 3 to 4 hours. But they're keeping a close eye on the fluid that's coming through, testing it, making sure that it's not a lot of blood, and it's just from when they were feeding him. His lymph nodes, it's called, I can't remember the name now, but the lymph nodes in his chest were reacting with the milk, and they were seeping out into this chest cavity and mixing with blood. So they were secreting something that was mixing and giving it like a milky orange color. So they sent that away and they tested it, and that's what they kind of think it is. So basically they stop feeding him for a week, and then they see and make sure that all this fluid goes away. And then if it does, they will start feeding him like a fake food. and do that for a little while, and then they'll start him again on breast milk. So it's kind of just a wait and see how he does with it. It's very common with cardiac babies that this occurs, so we're not too concerned about it. But he seems to be doing really, really well. It's very scary, but the doctors stay calm. So we've learned that if the doctors aren't freaking out, there's no reason for us to be freaking out, because they see it all the time and they know what they're doing. So yeah. While Xavier was having all of these lovely experiences, I was in the hospital myself. I had my gallbladder taken out, so it's been quite the adventure for us here. But our doctors have been amazing. Our team is amazing, and we're just looking forward to when we can come home, hopefully soon. But if not, we are in good hands. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick little video. There's still a lot of information that's missing, but like I said, if you check out our Instagram, I do update it every day. You might not get to see him every day, because sometimes if he's having a rough day, I don't like to post pictures of him, because nobody wants to be posting pictures when you don't look your best. So once he gets back up to maybe not looking so puffy and not so grumpy all the time, I'll start posting pictures again. All right, guys, so make sure you like and subscribe, and yeah, follow our Instagram, because it's probably the best way for you to get information. Thanks, guys. Bye.